Peace. In the name of Allah, I'm Aubrey Muhammad. I pray that everyone is well. Hempstead family, friends, and believers, welcome to my live session. Today I'm doing some DC Mambo sauce on some salmon fillets. I glaze it, the salmon, on some roasted salmon. And also the subject is Jillian Michaels. She's the real biggest loser. All right, let me get in quick because it's late. I guess I'm doing West Coast time. And I sort of heated up everything here. Now, since it's fast, I'm gonna do half a batch of the Mambo sauce. So I'm gonna go through the list to make sure I got it in half portions. I'm gonna put the recipe on the comment section of the video. I hope your evening is good, y'all, because it's late, but it's fine. Now, I'm gonna start with the Mambo sauce. Now, you know the Mambo sauce is, I'm doing the saucepan. This is like originally the 2-cup recipe to like go in a container like this, you know, these squirt fill bottles for the condiments, and a little extras in here when I do them. So it's like 2-something cups, 2.5, almost to 3 cups. This is a half portion because I don't need as much. And matter of fact, before I get started, let me get this started. Let me get as I'm doing the Mambo sauce mixture. It ain't nothing but a mixture. Here's 2 salmon fillets. You could do 1 big one is better. A salmon steak is even better. I wanted to do the steak in the oven. It's a lightly glazed. I marinated in Italian dressing, marinade, you know, olive oil, vinegar, herbs, and spices. And I put a light glaze of Mambo sauce over it. Mambo sauce is like a barbecue sauce. I'm gonna roast it in a toaster oven at 430 for 12 minutes. It usually roasts fast. Now I preheated this cast iron platter. So it's a little hot. Okay, let's cool down a little. Now I preheated the oven a little. Sheesh. As you can see, I'm gonna get this fired up. Now that's gonna roast 12 minutes at 430. That's a lot. And in between, like after 5-6 minutes, I'm gonna baste it with a little lemon juice. Well, let me read the ingredients off to you. Now this is a half a portion. I'm gonna shout out to you the full portion so you make the full portion. It's easier to do in a nice sauce pot. But I'm doing half because I don't need that much. 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, a cup of ketchup, 4 tablespoons of pineapple juice. Let me hold these up to you. Here's the ketchup. 1 cup of ketchup. A tablespoon of tomato paste. 4 tablespoons of pineapple juice. It's for the tanginess. A teaspoon of red vinegar, any vinegar you like. A tablespoon of soy sauce, low sodium. A tablespoon of hot sauce. Any good hot sauce you like, Frank's, Tabasco, any good one. 1 cup of raw sugar. This is Rapunzel sugar, the dehydrated cane sugar. It's distilled. And this is like the best, most unprocessed form of sugar. Some people use honey. You could give it a try. I never did a honey recipe. All right. Got my drink in me. Wait, maybe that's what I thought was a vinegar. And a tablespoon of smoked paprika. But with me, I use the paprika with a drop or 2 of liquid smoke, the hickory smoke, and some salt. I got some salt in there with the paprika. And we start this with the tomato paste. And that's not high, that's a very low. And it's basically just whisking this all together. I'm gonna take the tomato paste with some water, a few splashes of water, mix this in. And it's actually a seasoned stainless steel pan. Here we go. Mix this in. Not gonna let it burn. Mambo sauce is a barbecue sauce. It's pretty dark, okay? And here already, this don't take but a couple of seconds. Gonna take my thicker ingredients, the ketchup. Yeah. And this is a good barbecue sauce. You can use this for glazes and a wing dip sauce. In DC, this is especially a wing dip sauce. All right. I just took that tomato paste with a splash of water and I just heated it up and browned it up a little. Matter of fact, can I show y'all that? I just browned it up a little. All I did was took the whisk. It browned up very fast in a seasoned pan. Not an oil pan, a seasoned pan. I didn't put no oil in here, it's just seasoned. And that's low heat, low to medium. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little to get the ketchup up to par. This only take a couple of minutes. You know, this can take 2 to 3 minutes. Now I'm gonna put in a little liquid. That was a pineapple juice. Get this nice and fluid. And keep whisking this the whole time. It's already mixed. My hot sauce. I'll put in the sugar last. I hope your weekend was well. Yeah, because we got to do everything homemade, y'all. Everything from scratch. Grow everything from the garden to the table. I can take the paprika, splash that in there. Everything from the garden to the table, and guard your garden. Protect your garden. The garden is useless if you ain't protecting it. What you think sheepdogs is for? Guard dogs. That's where they come from. Guarding the farm. And the little tiny dogs was designed in the soy sauce. And don't you know the little tiny dogs was designed to kill the rats on your farm, in your barns, and in the farms with your feed. When you store your feed, you store your goods. You got to guard that too. You got to protect all your stuff. Now the sugar could go in here. Some people use honey. I've never done that recipe. I'll try maybe later, you know. This is all got to get mixed. And the biggest thing to mix is the sugar. The sugar have to dissolve, which it mostly have. It's a thick sugar now, y'all. This is a thick sugar. Get all the lumps out, you see? And it's dark. This is a dark, tangy sauce. And I use the hot sauce. You can make it hot or mild. I make it mild because I don't want to make a big batch. I gotta lower this. How's the salmon coming? It's working. There's the salmon. The low end is bubbling up already. Yeah, that's going to be done very soon. That's roasting good. After about 4 minutes, I'm going to just baste it with that lemon juice. Or if you got any marinade left, this is almost done. This is almost done, y'all. Look at that. Nice, thick, dark Mambo sauce. DC Mambo sauce. You can put this on chicken. Some people put it on beef ribs. I don't eat the rib. This is done. This is done. It's done. It's nothing but a quick mix of Mambo sauce. Now the ketchup is not healthy. Ketchup, that's the commercial ketchup, all right? You know, the commercial ketchup is what? Vinegar, soybean oil, tomato paste. This goes in. This is too hot for that plastic bottle. This is done. Yeah, that sugar just had to liquefy. This is a nice, nice thick. And it's going to thicken up. So this is the consistency of a barbecue sauce, not ketchup. This is you hear it plopping. It's going to thicken up because it's the consistency of barbecue sauce. Now let me focus here on this salmon. Oh yeah. And then afterwards, I'm gonna put more Mambo sauce. This is the finished Mambo sauce, the cool recipe. You just take that and pour it in a container. Now this is mostly done. Here we go. for my palm mitts here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Some lemon juice. Keep that nice and moist and succulent. That's roasting. That's almost done. And like the last 3 minutes, I'm gonna put a little bit more. Matter of fact, yeah, I like a little over the top. I like a lot of Mambo sauce on my thick salmon, the thick part. And either when it's just about to finish, I'll put just a little bit more Mambo sauce over it. And I can spread it with this. Yeah, y'all. The Mambo sauce goes with most fried food. French fries, fried rice, chicken. It's the ultimate wing sauce. Please, Mambo sauce on wing sauce. Hot wings. You can use it on beef ribs. And you can use it on chicken and waffles. Chicken and waffle sauce. I don't eat chicken, but I use it on the fish, and it's fine. Fish, fried rice, and anything but that sweet, tangy barbecue sauce. It works fine. Just got like 2 more minutes before I put a little bit more glaze on it, and it's gonna be done. And I left the skin on the salmon because I don't eat the skin, nor do I eat the tips. So the tip could, people like crispy skin, I don't. That lemon juice is finished too. And then you just put it in, the bottle. The bottles come empty like this. You open them up. They come apart 3 sections. You take them. Right, put this cap over. Fill it up with your sauce. You saw me do it with the different mayos. Seal it up. There's your seal container. That one is too hot. I'm not going to do it. It's a little too hot. And this will go good with like roasted potatoes. Yeah, you can roast some potatoes with some onions. Awesome. I love it. But what I'm about to get into is how we under attack. Now, DC. Now, this Mambo sauce is from DC. DC, stay strong. DC, y'all, we need the energy of the Million Man March. Brothers, get out there. You patrol your neighborhoods. You secure your neighborhoods. We need the energy of the Million Man March, man. We was like, hey, we protecting our hoods. All right? From all strangers and outsiders. Shoot, that's what our women waiting for. You don't want no chumps sitting around waiting for another man to make the decision for you. Our sisters want to be secured. And I'm just going to put just a little more to finish this off. Y'all can see that, right? Yeah. You'll see it. Just a little bit more over the top on the thick part. And it can run down the side fine. Oh, yeah. You should smell that. That is delicious. Let's spread that around a little. Yeah. Usually let it go down the side a little. That's all. Filet, that is Mambo sauce glazed salmon. And it's quick. You can bake it, but I love to roast. Forget it. Roasting in here with the see, I preheated the cast iron. It's called like a platter, a heater, or some people call it a personal cast iron baking dish. Mainly it's a platter, little mini one. It stays hot, so it cooks the bottom. So if you preheat it, you ain't got to turn it over. Most stuff you got to turn over, but when you roast on that high heat, the bottom cooks. So I keep this. I got some parchment paper to keep it clean. It's still gonna roast and get brown. I don't eat the skin. I just eat the top, and it does fine. And this is gonna be done in 3 minutes. Maybe take 2. I'll put a little on. Yeah, that's gonna be done in 1 minute. Not 2 for the extra sauce on top. At 365. Yeah, DC, stay strong. New York, we're going to have to do the same thing. We need the same energy. We're going to have to protect our hoods. You know, protect our hoods. Others will come in, breach our security. We got to guard. We got to be guardians and vanguards of our communities. So We under attack. I told you, Caucasians is making an Anglo nation. They're dropping seeds slowly but surely. The subject today is Jillian Michael. This Caucasian woman got on CNN, and she just acted a fool. Stupid. Made a simple Simon statement dismissing chattel slavery, dismissing FBA lineage claims and heritage of pain and legacy of slavery, how it affected us. She got on there and said 2%, silly woman. She was from the movie The Biggest Loser, and she is the damn biggest loser. Talking about only 2% of white people owned slaves in 1860, and 600,000 white soldiers died during the Civil War. So she said, stop making white people bad. So she said, foundational black Americans, those who came through chattel slavery, who built the country and experienced that. She said, forget it, don't mention us no more. White people are not bad, that's over with. We remedied that. That was absurd. That's a Fortran talking point. That was silly. And she said it to two weak hosts, to the congressman from the Bronx. It was on the Abby Phillips show. She's weak. She's not connected to our lineage. Torres. That was Torres. He was just weak. Oh, chattels. She said 2% of whites, but he said, it was a system. And he's right. It's about the system, but that was it. He said white supremacy is a system. And that's it. He doesn't have any arguments because he's not a part of the lineage and he don't feel our pain. So how could he stand up there to defend us? That's how she pulled that off. And here you have it, family. You have oven roasted salmon fillets with Mambo sauce. And boy, is that pleasant. I don't need these right now, but I'm just going to take one and put it on that platter. Oh boy. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. There we go. Platter. My little sage and my oh, you should smell that. Oh, ain't nothing like Mambo sauce. Here it is. That's our roasted Mambo sauce salmon fillet. This is a half. It was two together. The steaks are even better. Red snapper and this steak. The steak has a bone, and the center bone is even better. But this is so delicious. Look at that. I can crack this open now and show y'all. I'm not going to eat it because I'm talking. See how flaky it is? Oh, yeah. You see that. Perfect. I'm going to eat that. When that cools down, that can stay right there. Yeah. Jillian Michael says, to dismiss anything that white people did. White people ain't bad. That experience is over. It was nothing because we fought to end it. I mean, that's just absurd. What happened was slavery was an aspect of our Holocaust. We have suffered the biggest Holocaust in the annals of history. Our slavery was an aspect of exploitation and labor. The greatest robbery they did was robbing us of the knowledge of self. That's the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the greatest robbery accomplished is to rob a person of the knowledge of self and keep them in the darkness of the ignorance of their own mind. To rob them of your name, your culture, your God, your language, your ways of life. They aim to destroy our souls. Why? Because only a soulless person could do that. That's what happened to us. It was a Holocaust. They hunted us for fun and glee, terrorized us, plundered us, raping children, men and women. They raped men also. That's how homosexuality was introduced to us, that pedophilia. That was us. They had special things. They had like farms for that. They had boutiques you could go up into and get children. Go look at that documentary by Papa Doc, Goodbye Uncle Tom. Papa Doc financed that. Goodbye Uncle Tom, the part about chattel slavery where they had those parlors. Go look at Django. Candy, the slave master over Candyland. was first introduced to Django and King Schultz through a parlor he was at, where he had Mandingo fighting. They were fighting with their bare hands to death. Well, in those parlors, they had all type of freakish stuff. And this was us. They did this to us for hundreds of years. And more, it gets worse. You see what they've done. So they didn't only rob us of the knowledge itself, they robbed us of everything and kept us subjugated. So they plundered us. Then keeping us in that ignorance, they robbed us of our inventions. They robbed us of our talent. They robbed us of our labor. And that was a plunder that built America into a superpower. So that was the harm done. And if you want to know the extent of what they took, just compare like 13th, 14th, and 15th century Europe to 16th, to like 17th, the 17th and 18th, and 19th century America. That's where you see what happened. They plundered us. You know, they had this saying, what's that philosopher, was an American philosopher, got his name. He said, if I had a slave, I would do good. Right now, if I had a slave, I would do good. If I had 10 slaves, I would be rich. I wouldn't have to worry about nothing. He said, I could hire 2 people to manage those 10 slaves. I wouldn't have to do nothing. If I owned 100 slaves, I would be wealthy, and my generations after me, I could pass that down to my family. They'll be wealthy. He said, and if I owned millions of slaves for centuries, I would be America. That's how you got wealthy, America. That's how you plundered, you stole, you lied, you murdered, you robbed, and you're ashamed of that history. So you go into the Smithsonian, you get this silly cracker, this Jillian Michaels, go on CNN, oh, the Smithsonian is so bad. It's saying that white people did so bad because you don't atone for your evil. If there was nothing to it, if only 2% of whites owned slaves, well, it built industries, the infrastructure. All that plunder made the South king, and cotton was king, the king industry. That created markets up in Europe of trade. Banking was done behind it. Insurance. Whole industries grew up out of that. You employed a whole bunch of people, overseers, processors, mills. You built all the infrastructure from slave labor that you plundered from us. That's what you took, and you owe us for that. You deprived us of everything, robbed us blind. That's how you got your wealth. And if it was nothing to it, and if the Civil War remedied it, he said, oh, she says 600,000 soldiers lost their lives in the Civil War. You were so wicked, you had to fight to stop slavery. A lot of other countries stopped slavery. Great Britain didn't end slavery for a benevolent reason. We got too much to handle. The Civil War was an FBA revolt. And Britain stopped slavery earlier because they said we can't import slaves to Britain. Ain't no farms here. And we don't own too much, and they raising hell over there in the West Indies. And where we have our colonies and stuff, they raising too much hell. So we got to go into Africa. Africa was a dark continent. They couldn't go in there because they would get malaria. They would die in the interior of West Sub-Saharan Africa from the West. They couldn't go in there, so they mocked it. They called it the dark continent. You've seen the Tarzan movies, how they betrayed Africa. So finally, when they started getting vaccines and remedies, and they said, look, we can go into Africa now. So that's when the Berlin Conference, they decided to go and take Africa. So instead of importing slaves into Britain and then broken colonies, which is a lot of expenses, they said, we'll colonize Africa. And they chopped up Africa with the Berlin Conference. So it wasn't goodwill, it wasn't beneficence. The ending of American chattel slavery, that was a foundational Black American revolt. We started killing white folks for our freedom. We were superior warriors with less weapons, minimum weapons. We just was burning crops, killing slave masters. We ruptured the whole economy. It got too much to handle. So they said, let's negotiate, let's make it a different way. Let's make this exploitation. And the North was saying, look, we got little slaves, but y'all waxing fat, and it's a hell of a thing to do. Let's team up together, and we can master them in a 100-year plan. And the South didn't want to go for it. That was Robert E. Lee. He was a prefect of West Point, the supervisor there. Abraham Lincoln asked him, come lead the Union Army. Abraham Lincoln was wise. he bucked them bankers. Abraham Lincoln, he went after them bankers that was behind all this. And Robert E. Lee rejected him. He said, no, I'm going with my state, Virginia. And the Civil War split down West Point. It was coordinated through West Point. The Civil War split down West Point they produced magnificent generals out of West Point. Robert E. Lee was a magnificent general. So he said, we going with our states and we're going to keep slavery, but Europe wouldn't accept him. So they had little weapons, little financing. Robert E. Lee rejected Abraham Lincoln's offer. He said, I'm going with the Confederacy. So Abraham Lincoln got who? Grant, Ulysses Grant. He was a magnificent general, but he was drunk. He pulled him out of retirement. He was drunk. Ulysses Grant was a super general. He'd have been very good, but he was addicted to alcohol, drinking all the time. So he came out of that, and look at the victories he had. He was still, masterful. But they knew each other. During that Civil War, they communicated with each other. Grant and Lee and all them other officers that went to West Point together during low times in them battles and vicious battles, they would send each other like whiskey and cards and different things like that. They would communicate with each other. Yeah, remember this in West Point? We did that day to show the respect to each other. They would salute each other like that until they got back down to war. A calculated, engineered war to kill them. That's 600,000. Because the Caucasian here, coward. That was a draft. 600,000 you bragging about. That was 2 million Union soldiers in the North. 2 million they got with that draft. They had to force them. 3.3 million dodged the draft. 3.3 million eligible Northern soldiers dodged the draft into the Civil War. They said, it ain't my war, ain't what I'm fighting for. I don't own no slaves. See what she says now? Jillian Michaels, we didn't own slaves. Only 2% did it. They wasn't fighting for them. And they wasn't making money. They wasn't bankers. They wasn't in a mercantile, into cotton, the fabrics, trading that, up and down the Delta, all that big trade. That was phenomenal. So poor whites, what the hell with that? I ain't fighting for you. 3.3 million of them dodged that war. So they're cowards. So there's nothing noble or honorable about them stopping the evil. They shouldn't have started anyway. You shouldn't have did the evil. That was you. That's what you did. And you owe us, and we are waking up because we're delineating. It is the foundational Black American delineation movement that has spooked you. Because Anglos, they're doing a severe delineation and nationalism. They're forming an Anglo nation, and this woman is dropping the seeds. How can she do that if they go in the history books and they go into the Smithsonian and the African American Museum, which is a government funded museum, that's not our private museum, and they're saying that Caucasians did bad to build a country, and they haven't atoned for it. What was Reconstruction for then? They said, well, the Civil War soldiers died. 600,000 of Civil War, that did it. Well, what was Reconstruction? And Reconstruction is saying, look, it was an injustice done to you. Here, we get you in senators, especially in Virginia and South Carolina. We flourished in North Carolina. We flourished down there during Reconstruction. And then they ended that. It was only like a decade, like 10 years went by, something like that, before Reconstruction was scuttled. After they scuttled it, they gave, right after the Civil War, they gave reparations to white slave owners for losing their slaves. They enslaved Native Black people. Then what? We went out from them plantations and we went and built them all Black towns. You went and raised them. And at that same moment that you raised them and we were getting all those millions of acres of land, we bought land after slavery. We bought land. We were that industrious, that prosperous. We bought up to 20 million acres of land. And we were productive. We were the most productive people on the planet, the most industrious, because we were the most creative and the most talented. It's just that all our energy is being robbed by some vampires. Go watch the movie Sinners. That's just what they are. rob us of everything. We built them all black towns, you raised them. And then you did the Homestead Act. You gave land to Caucasians, trillions of dollars worth of land. You gave millions of acres of land. And you gave them interest-free loans to produce the land, and you trained them how to farm the land. We were the master farmers, the master builders, the craftsmen, the blacksmiths. We ran the mills. We did the inventions. We created the cotton gin. We did all that. We had so much money, we were buying our relatives. Our relatives before the Civil War that were in bondage by the thousands. We purchased them to keep them safe from some no good white man. And you're all no good. None of you no good. And you built a system based upon that evil. And now this woman, Jillian, I think she's Lebanese. Her mama's Jewish, a pale-faced Jew. And her daddy's like Syrian Lebanese. She's a damn immigrant. On a show with two other immigrants talking about how valueless our claim is for justice and that white people absolve from any evil they have done. You see how that goes? That's the way they are. But we stand up for justice, and we still have a reparations claim. We have a delineation claim. A delineation movement that includes a reparations claim of like 32 trillion to start. That's 800,000 each FBA in this country. And once you do that, then we'll start looking at you like we might work with you. Most I doubt. I know what I'm doing with mine. We going independent. Going North Carolina, already got a plan. Land in North Carolina, Arkansas, and just building and doing good with our people. We want nothing to do with you, and that's the problem. The Caucasian, he has to coerce people into admiring him to be his pets. And he's so used to that. That's over with us. That's a done deal. Their last trick was the Democratic Party. That's over with now. Now you see some of them Democrats trying to trick like they with our nationalist movement. Nationalism is our key. That's what we practiced after Reconstruction. After emancipation, the Reconstruction, they scuttled Reconstruction, we went nationalists. We built all black towns that were more prosperous than everyone else's. Like 60 of them were main ones. It was like 200 something towns. And after we were raised from that, we went into sharecropping, and we lost. And then we just started trusting white folks again with sharecropping. We got tired, and they lured us into the cities to this day. And here we are again into the cities, and them Democrats invited millions and millions of replacements in. This got to stop. This is why I'm getting right to the solution. It's 10:44 good. I'll take a bite of my salmon after this because I don't want to be munching while I'm talking. We have a solution. Our nationalism, delineation and militancy, self-sufficiency is implicit in nationalism. Nationalism is doing for yourself. Focusing on our heritage, our legacy, we got to protect it. Look at DC. When I was making this, I made this sauce like a couple of weeks ago, this Mambo Sauce, and I was thinking about DC. And I went and studied the history of DC. We built Washington, DC. Benjamin Banneker laid out the plans, all in his mind. He's a Mason. But put all them plans together. Washington, D.C. resembles Mecca and Egypt. Did you know that Detroit and Chicago are like the same distance from Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia? The Masons who founded this country, the select group of Caucasian, Anglos, they got together and formed it and masterminded, said we could take this black man and take advantage of his spirituality, lying, stealing, how to master black people. That's what they did to us. That's the secret in them lodges. That's what rules this country. Them synagogues and temples, that's where all the plans are made. Synagogues, temples, and the lodges. Everything is planned from there. And the rest of the population is divide and conquer. They just pit us against each other. They have us at each other because we don't see their master plan. Their master plan is to keep us weak and to replace us with robots. That's the last plan. Caucasian plans got scuttled. Their plan got, we threw a monkey wrench in the mechanics during the pandemic when we woke up and saw this. But also, what is flatlining them and killing their plan is their birth rates are declining fast. That's nature hitting them for being anti-nature, for being so destructive. That's what nature do. And you're so mean. Look at you, you're unrepentant. Jillian Andrews is a goddamn Lebanese. She ain't even American. Ain't got nothing to do with chattel slavery or the people from that. Ain't got nothing to do with it. Opening her mouth. And the people on that CNN panel ain't got nothing to do with Native Black Americans, foundational Black Americans that built the country. They have no relationship to us. That's why they don't feel our pain. That's why those two hoes couldn't defend us. They just gave a gloss and over an indignation. But they're not talking like this of the details of the essence of your evil. It's manipulative, and it's coercive, and it's diabolical. And it never stops. And your reason you are portrayed as evil and nobody likes you, white America, because you're deceptive. All you do is plot evil. And in your good acts, it's poison in that. And your good acts, your good deeds, the good you do that USAID is wickedness for the countries. They send the aid to, they undermine the countries all around the world, undermine them, assassinate their leaders, sabotage their economies, take their resources, trick them into debt, and then and give them an incentive of actually coming to America. And they know they compel because of opportunity. They want to make some more money. They see all these opportunities here. America just printing money, fiat money. So in the trick in that, they think is good. They think, oh, look at this. But they don't see that they're being used. They're fodder, cannon fodder, being used against us. The man is a master divide and conquer. He plays the good cop, bad cop scheme. They do that in the police on the street. They do that in the courthouses, good cop, bad cop. They do it in the lawyers, the judges, the bail bondsmen, all of them scheming together. All of them work together. The highest up judges, the schools participate with them. Hempstead is a school to prison pipeline. I know, I'm an alumni of it. All of it is a bad plan. And the key is when you get caught, when we wake up, we see you, they say, oh, you know, you're not valued. You know, what you're saying has no value because everybody else has suffered. That's one of her complaints, that Jillian Michael, you know, slavery has gone on for thousands of years. Slavery was an aspect of the evil you did to us. This is a Holocaust. We're in the aftermath of it. And the danger you see, you're forming an Anglo nation. This is my message. This is my Teddy talk today. The Anglos, the Caucasians, forming an Anglo nation. And if you want to be a part of it, you're going to, FBA, you're going to be at the very bottom. You're going to be at the scrape bottom. You can be in it. You're going to know the only place you is at the bottom. And our solution is nationalism. That nationalism similar to like pale Jews. It's kind of similar to that. A little to the Asians economically, politically. We're going to take aspects of other people to maneuver through this plan to put us on top. Our nationalism. And we can do it without arms. We can do it without protest, without outrage. We have a strong culture that can be profitable to us. A culture that we can make industries from. Fashion, design, and art, and them skills like that. And applying our genius to not new inventions that we will make now, because they'll take them, they'll steal them. Look at our brother that made plastic into gasoline, like plastoline he called it. That brother had to go into hiding. The brother that took air, made water from the air, drinking water from the air, that I think they killed him. They sabotaged his machine. You cannot build anything creative with what he has access to. We got to get into enclaves and our nationalism. We got to circle the wagons. Then we can do that internally. And we can produce it amongst ourselves. And then we can put that in culture, and that culture could be for sale. That culture could be for trade. Like how hip hop went around the world, perfect example. Imagine how we mastered and held on to hip hop and claimed it and became the guardians and the gatekeepers of it. People would be paying us licensing. We'd be sitting back like them Jews with bonds. Don't you know they coveted bonds? Whenever you buy a bond on Wall Street, you get what's that? On Wall Street, not the Federal Reserve. The stock exchange. The New York Stock Exchange, you want to buy a station there? A couple of years ago, it was $10,000 for a station. That's Bloomberg. Bloomberg bonds. Bonds to bill. All them corrupt officials with the contracts with concrete, sanitation, and all the infrastructure services contracts by other ethnic groups like Jewish and Italian and Greeks that have them special relationships in New York City. And all of them, you see how the Italians coveted garbage. They went into sanitation and cement and construction. Say ain't nobody paying attention. They have that niche market. They focused on that market. And what did the pale Jews focus on? Financing. Bonds. You want a bond for every municipality across America? Them bonds to do services for infrastructure is in $5,000 bundles. You got to go through a handful of Jews to get them bonds. Then they sell them and make money off them. Anybody can buy them. But why do you think that's coveted with them? The legal system. Go to legal aid. Who do you think is determining who to give you a lawyer? They playing you like the good cop, bad cop. And then they do it on a global scale. America and Russia ain't even at war. They in the lodges, they in the synagogues, they in them temples, laughing their asses off at people getting guns, killing each other over things that they set against you. They troll you for. They put in somebody to talk about you, to mock you and laugh at you, put a meme about you on social media. And then you right at it fighting this person because you can't perceive that's that AI. You're arguing with a robot. Most of y'all arguing with Grok. Most arguments online right now to this day is Grok versus Grok. Now what does that do? That takes your creativity from you. You just start throwing out questions. And most of that stuff is full of hate and envy and trying to destroy somebody, humiliate them. And you're caught in the middle of that. Meanwhile, they were importing millions to replace us. And this haven't been at a crisis level for us. This has been, I'm not going to vote for the Democrats, which was good. We let them crash and burn. We're going to let them keep crashing and burning because we have a plan. We have an avenue. We have a platform. If you are a foundational Black American, go to, especially in New York, we need to be planning in New York. When they send in these officers into our communities, they need to meet people in the community bringing about stabilization. And just not letting anybody run around our community. When they come in our community, they need to meet a stabilization force that will protect our interests, our heritage, fight us legally and economically. And all that can be fueled with culture by us profiting from our culture, our unique culture. You'd be shocked what we could do. Go to freedmennation.org, get your genealogy done, get verified, and sign up for protection. Get yourself accounted for so that we can have something to negotiate with. So we can have something that we can call our own lineage, our own organization that fights specifically for us instead of being bundled into the good cop, bad cop routines. The people of color, the minority, the DEI, affirmative action, all that was gained. We fought for the civil rights. Yeah, we got it, but then they flipped it around on us. All right, y'all, I gotta go. I'm gonna take a bite out of my salmon. This one is still hot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is mild. Mm-hmm. That's a mild one. I don't like it hot. Because if I want it hot, you know, I have a whole bunch of sauce that I don't want hot. So I just put cayenne pepper in with a little batch that I'm going to make if I want it hot. That's how I make it hot. But if you want to make a hot batch, put some cayenne pepper in there or any other hot pepper in there to make it hot. This is mild Mambo Sauce, DC Mambo Sauce. DC, stay strong. Brothers, get in them streets. Protect our people. Be guardians. Be the gatekeepers. Stop letting people push us around. You're doing an excellent job there. Because it's a bigger plan behind that. That Anglo nation. In New York, it's going to be 10 times worse. But we can be ready. If we just get the ball rolling. Nothing to stop us. All right, family, thank you. Let me see if there's any questions. Oh, it's late. Man, it's almost 11 o'clock. Now, I'll answer them on the, when I go down to the comments, yeah, because it's late. One comment. Oh, yeah, fire. Right on, sister. My sister loves. All right. That's right. We the fire. We're grand people. Peace to you and your family, sister. You know I love you. That's right. And next week, I think I'll be back in Hempstead, out in the field. I got to deal with a tennis association. That's what we got to do. We lost all our civic associations and our tennis associations. All that's been planned. We got to get them back. I'm going to form another. I ain't going to tell nobody where it is. And then they go undermined in you. You know, that's the way they are. But family, thank you for joining me. I hope the rest of your week is strong, focused, and full of abundance and protection. And more importantly, peace. Peace of mind, goodwill, good spirit. Forgive your family members. Be more forgiving to your family members. You'll be shocked what people are going through. Things we don't know, the pain people have. But if we're respectful towards them, more loving, more patient, the best will come out of people. That's what I do. Forgive yourself. Be hard on yourself. Develop yourself, train in fighting, mentally and spiritually. But to the enemy, be strong against them. But to your family, the friends around you, take a lot. You know, when you're playing the instrument, the harp is a sensitive instrument. But when you get it right, it makes beautiful music. You know, we need to be beautiful to each other. Turn towards our hearts. That's our power. Right there. Because when someone comes to get in between that, we'll fight like hell. And raise hell to make sure nobody destroys that. Stay protective. Stay focused, family. Thank you for joining me. And I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient Arabic words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace unto you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay strong and focused, family. I love you. We almost there. November. It's a big month. I'll get on that next week. Peace.